Australia is on fire.
The coronavirus has claimed
a Ukrainian passenger plane.
Violent clashes between Hindus and Muslims.
The economy is facing its biggest crisis.
A Pakistan international airline.
Worst plague of locusts.
2 weeks after George Floyd was
India's disputed border.
It's been labelled the worst fire season ever recorded, an apocalypse, a nightmare, and like looking into the gates of hell. From the New South Wales-Victoria border all the way to the Central Coast, 9 blazes reached emergency warning level today.
The coronavirus has claimed more than 100 lives and over 4,500 cases have been confirmed in mainland China. And authorities say the outbreak of the virus is rapidly spreading in the country. Outside of China, several countries are reporting cases of the disease, including Thailand, Japan, the United States, Taiwan, Australia, France, Canada, and Germany.
After days of denials, Iran admitted it unintentionally shot down a Ukrainian passenger plane, killing 176 people on board. In an address on state television, the Revolutionary Guard general said they'd mistaken the aircraft for a hostile target in the wake of America's assassination of Iran's top military leader.
Very sad news to tell the sports world. The LA Times is reporting that retired Los Angeles Lakers basketball star Kobe Bryant has been killed in a helicopter crash. It happened this morning. The chopper reportedly went down just before 10 a.m. local time, according to the fire department out there in Calabasas, California.
The national capital, a battleground. Violent clashes between Hindus and Muslims have rocked the city for days. Entire neighbourhoods ripped apart as mobs roam the streets. The riots have been centred in the northeast of the city, in largely Muslim neighbourhoods. Once again, protesters and police clashed on the streets in Hong Kong. On Sunday afternoon, thousands turned up to rally against a contentious national security law proposed by Beijing.
The global economy is facing its biggest crisis in 90 years. The International Monetary Fund says the pandemic and lockdown measures will cause the worst recession since the Great Depression. So what does that look like, and what hopes are there for a recovery?
The Dhaka Tribune newspaper is reporting the boat was turned back from Malaysian waters because of coronavirus restrictions. The Coast Guard says it's looking into whether the group was fleeing Myanmar or the crowded refugee camps in Bangladesh.
Holding signs reading "Corrupt, we're fed up." Thousands of Israelis protested in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem against what they see as a bungled government response to the coronavirus crisis.
A Pakistan international airlines plane with more than 100 people on board has crashed into a residential area in the city of Karachi. The plane was flying from Lahore when it came down near Model Colony. It's a neighbourhood of Karachi, right near Jinnah International Airport.
Now to the staggering new numbers in the coronavirus pandemic. More than 14 million cases worldwide, a 40% increase in less than 3 weeks. The U.S. now reporting nearly 140,000 lives lost. Hard-hit Florida with more than 10,000 new cases, adding to the strain on hospitals.